Hi, and welcome to the Full Weight of Joy podcast, formerly known as her Restored Spirit podcast. I'm your host. I'm Tammy, and I am so excited that you're here. And I am so excited to tell you, to share a little bit about why the transition, what is happening, and where are we going now and in the future with Tammy Marie Coaching. Now, I have been alluding to a change for several months. I have been actually physically been working on this shift for, well, about 8 months. And it's been over a year since I felt the prompting from God to make a shift. And the reason is because when we go through seasons, when we go through life, he highlights things, right? We have things to learn. And I have been working diligently for well over a decade on moving from a restored spirit into a joyful spirit. And I want to share my journey with you. I want to share what's possible when you're willing to allow God to heal you. Because let's face it, trials are a part of life. God doesn't say that we're not going to have trials. He says, find the joy in it. No matter where we are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you did go through, you are here today for a purpose. And I have made it my life's work. And I know that it's what God's called me to do is help you see how discovering your unique gifts and your unique strengths and your talents and how to use your realm of influence, how to use the experiences and the things that you've gone through to impact, to make that ripple effect and to shine. We are called to be the light on the hill. We're called to be the salt of the earth, and we're called to be light on a hill, and we're told not to dim our lights. When we go through things, we dim our lights. When we go through hard things, it shifts us, it changes us, and we can go one or two ways. We can allow it to shape us forever, or we can decide that our past doesn't get to define us, but we get to decide what we do now. And friend, that's what this podcast is for. I want you to go from a renewed spirit, a restored spirit. I want God to restore you. And I want you to take that and I want you to become a joyful spirit. I want to walk with you on this journey through the transitions of life. We have so many hats, right? We wear hats where, well, our walk and our faith, we have parenting, we have our relationships, we have financial, we have health, we have all of these areas in life that we struggle in. And I think it's safe to say that if one area is going really good, we're probably struggling in another area. And it doesn't have to be bad. It can just be a struggle. And even I heard a sermon months ago, and it was talking about how there's three things. We're either heading into a crisis, or we're coming out of one, like constantly. Like that is what our life is. That's what happens when we are living in this world, in this broken world. The Full Weight of Joy podcast is a place where you can come and you can see that through life's challenges, through all the hardships and the arguments with your teenager and the life changes and the new season that you're feeling is coming, and the struggles that we embrace, that we come to just normal everyday life, right? Like I don't even have to tell you what they are because it happens all the time. We have struggles, but I want to be a place where you can come and you can start to see, well, how you were created to overcome that, how you were created, and how God put things in your path so you can be a light to others, so you can shine your light, your strengths, your gifts, and have that ripple effect to where when you shine your light, the person next to you has the ability to shine theirs. When we dim our lights, when we don't step into who God created us to be, not only are we out of obedience, and are we overwhelmed and stressed, and does it feel heavy? But it also doesn't show the goodness of God. And he talks about how we're supposed to share the goodness of God. The Full Weight of Joy podcast is going to do that. We're going to share the goodness of God through the trials. We are not going to pretend like they don't happen. We're not going to pretend like they happened once and we did everything right through them and they don't bother us anymore. We're not going to let the hardship take over. And we're not going to put on rose-colored glasses. But what we are going to do is make a choice. We're going to see how every choice we make can lead to something better, how God can use you and your story for good, how your story is needed because it can inspire others. In this podcast, I'm going to have experts who can talk about that, who can share with us ways that you can overcome health issues, financial issues, different things, all the areas of life, everything that's considered inside whole self-care. Making a shift, I'm still the same person. I still have been studying the same thing and really diving into what God says about it. But I want to have people who have some inspiring stories and choose joy in the midst of storms, who cried out and said, okay, God, I see what you're having me do. I don't want to, but I'm all yours. And I want to just share these stories of triumph with you to inspire you, to let you know that you can have them too. Though we may be going through midlife, though we feel a season shifting, and well, let's face it, our kids are getting older. They don't need us as much. They still need you. Don't you worry. But as they are getting older and graduating, you are also graduating. You are coming to a point where all of those strengths and all of those talents and gifts that you have been given throughout the years and you've honed and crafted and worked through and made stronger, all those things that you learned, all of those scars that you've gotten and those battle wounds and the victory that you've had. Now, friend, you have the ability, you have the time, and you have the resources to share it with others. You get to, instead of spend all day crafting your kids' lunches and doing everything for them, you get to let them see you using your gifts for others, using your gifts to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go and do something for myself. They're going to see you have hobbies. They're going to see you go out with your friends. They're going to see you take a stand for yourself, and not in a selfish way, not at all. Because, well, one, okay, little hard truth here. If you don't let your kids know that they're not the center of the universe, when they leave the house, they're going to have a rude awakening to see that they're not the center of the universe, that people don't adjust their schedules and people don't take time to, their college professor is not going to, well, be like, oh, you can turn in the paper late. I know you overslept. Like, it's going to be okay. Or I know you didn't want to take the bus, so you waited for a ride. Like, they're not going to do that. So the other part of that is we're not empowering our kids, our teens, our adults in training to take ownership. We're also, if you don't have hobbies and you don't know who you are, it doesn't look very fun to be an adult, to simply to be a mom, and where we sacrifice everything for our kids and willingly. I don't begrudge that. I am not, I made the choice. But now I can see, I'm like, okay, you know what? You can do that on your own. You want to make it happen? Good luck. Let me know how it works out for you. When they see me struggling, trying to learn something new, I have something to talk to them about because they also were struggling, trying to learn something new. See where I'm going with that? So it's not selfish. It is you stepping into your gifts, your strengths, you allowing you to shine, you're going to give them the ability to shine too. Our teens have stopped listening to us a long time ago. They're watching what we're doing. They watch to see how we treat people, how we handle struggles. And if they don't ever see you struggle or try something new, how are they going to know when they come across it? Have you thought about that? So this whole awakening, this graduation, this midlife upgrade that we're going through, this or whatever season you are, we're always going into a new season and with a new season comes a new identity. This is what I've been diving into for so long, because we've been told that focusing on yourself is selfish, that we should die to self. And I don't disagree with that. I also know that as a parent, when I see my kids step into one of their strengths and fly and soar and flourish, it makes me really happy. So how would it be different for God when he steps in and says, he gave us these gifts to share, and our spiritual gifts are not just for church. Our spiritual gifts are actually, the church as in not the building, it's as the body, as the light bearers, as the lamps on the hill that are called to shine, as the clouds of witnesses. And I forgot where I was going with that, but it was really good. Anyway, as the person who steps in, I remember, but wouldn't God be really excited? He crafted you. He specifically gave you gifts that are not the same as your friends. He gave you strengths that are not the same as your siblings. He gave you this package that if you never unwrap, you never see, and you never see what it is or even try to put it on or step into it. Are we honoring God? Or is that a way of saying, you know what, I really wish that I had an easier strength, or I really wish that I had that, that's good for them, but that's not me. And I don't believe that that's what God wants us to do. I think by understanding how he made us, we can see our calling, we can see our purpose, and we can step into the identity of this new season. We're always shifting our identity because our goal is to be more and more like Christ. Understanding how he made us, how he wired us, the way, if we start to see what is he highlighting to us. And I say that highlight because, people will be reading the same book and will remember different parts, going through the same store, and people will, my son and I and my daughter will all recognize different things. Well, in life, that is how it works too. God will highlight, he intensifies different causes, different things that really, when we see them, they touch our heart. We all love a cute cat video, but there are some that hit us, some videos that hit us a little more than others. When you recognize what God highlights to you, you start to see, paired that with what your gifts and your strengths are, all of a sudden you can see what's next. You can see your next step. You may not be able to see all the way because he intentionally does not give us the end game, the end destination. He does not even tell us the start of it, really. He just says go, and that he will direct our path. He will shift and move things so that way we can get there. Friend, when one of us shines, and then when we inspire someone else to shine, the world can get really bright. We can spread the good news. We can step into who we're called to be and make a deeper impact, all while removing expectations, removing all of those old habits and those old thoughts that are actually keeping you from growing, keeping you from getting what you want. When Paul says, I don't know why I do what I do, or I do what I don't do, and I don't do what I want to do, there's insight to that. There are so many things that we can sit back and look and understand now. Okay, why do I do what I do? Why can't I do what I want to do? And when I partner the Enneagram and neuroscience and the concepts of psychotherapy and my experience and what God has highlighted to me over the last 43 years, I can help you shine. I can help you see how you are a gift to the world. This podcast, I want it to be your first step. I want you to be able to come to this podcast and say, yes, that's what I want. I know that God has a purpose for me, that He gave me these beautiful gifts, whether I embrace them yet or not, whether I know what they are or not, but I have them. And now you get to go on a journey to find them, to discover them, to uncover them, and to embrace them and see how all of the things you've been through has led to this moment. I am so excited about the Shine membership, because not only will take what we talk about in this podcast, but then I will give you actual steps. We'll talk about and we'll go through journaling questions and we will discover, okay, what is the next step? And we'll start to make those tiny shifts. And let me tell you, it is not about adding things to your to-do list. It is really about removing things. I will remove so much. I will help you remove. You got to do the work. I'm a coach, I'm not a miracle worker, but I will help you see what you need to remove, whether it's the old expectations, whether it's old stories, whether it's old ways of doing things when God's clearly calling you to do something different. And then when you're ready to go even deeper and not only understand it, but you want to start making those massive changes, those massive transformations in your life, I have my Shine On group program. That's 3 months of weekly, you'll have work weekly. That doesn't even matter. But what it will do is you're going to be able to step into, we're going to do a step into who you are. You're going to recognize we go deep, we go individual, we go personalized. Even though it's a group, we're going to do it in small groups. And I wasn't planning on talking about this, but we're going there. So that's why, I don't have my notes in front of me, but that's okay because I don't even need them. What this group does is all of it cuts through all the bull. We really get curious and we highlight what's working, what's not working, why do I act the way I do, and how do I change it? Through a scientific process, which is amazing, which works, and which is not just making you feel better, but it also changes your life. It helps you see who you are and what you can do with it. I also have one-on-one coaching. If you want to go deep and you want to go personalized and you want to go fast with just you and I, we will meet and we will just dive in, and it could at any time. One-on-one coaching, if I have a spot available, you can grab it. My group is only, the next one is going to be in October. If you're interested, send me a DM because it's going to fill up. I am not going to just let anyone in because I really want to make sure it's the right women together who are ready to say yes to themselves. The Shine membership, get in now. You don't want to waste another month. You can cancel anytime. If you click on there's a big coupon if you do the quiz that is on my website. But if you don't do that, if you sign up for my emails, I have a coupon code there for you for your first month. It's growing, it's new, but I am so excited about what we can do. And it all goes back to when one of us supports each other, when we step into who God creates us to be, and then we start to build and we have support, because it's not easy to go against the grain, to go against what the world says. It's not easy to to do something different than your friends or your family. It's not easy to say, this is what I have. This is my God dream. This is what I believe he's asking me to do in this season. But when you have other women who are willing to say the same thing, it's a whole lot easier. When we are looking together how we can shine and we can share the goodness together, we all are elevated. We all shine brighter. I have given you a lot here. I am so excited about this direction. I'm so excited that my website is changing. It'll be probably at least 6 weeks before all of that's done. But hey, it's God's timing, right? Doesn't matter. Like, it'll be done. The first step is actually stepping, is taking the first step, is saying yes to yourself. If you're not on my email list and you're like, that may be, and I'm telling you, no one wants emails. One thing that I try to do is I want to serve you. I want to give you journal prompts. I want you to giving you something to think about. I want to encourage you. I want to help you on your path through motherhood, through empty nesting, which that's coming my way in a couple of years, through the whole graduation process of going from having kids to having teens to having adults in training to having adults, through recognizing that what you've been through is not only for you, that the things that you've learned, the things that you have experienced is not ever wasted if you allow God to use it. He can use everything for good, even a death of a spouse, even a loss of a dream, even a fire, losing your job, even losing your house, even a fire, even an earthquake, even a hurricane. Doesn't matter what the trial is. God can use it for good. And we are called to be joyful. We're called to be steadfast and to renew our minds. We're called to be light of the world. And friend, it's time that we start shining. So I am going to close this. I am super excited. If you have any questions, if you have an idea, if you have a question that you want me to answer on the podcast, or if you have something that I've said that you're like, I'd like more information, let me know. Send me a DM. There's going to be, there's a spot on my website too, my current one, that you can go in under podcast and actually put your question in there. But we're on this journey together. When one of us shines bright, we can all shine brighter. God's burden is light when we carry it together, when we give him the hard stuff and just say, okay, God, we're yours. So join Shine. You're going to want to. I am so excited about all the things that are coming, and it is growing. And I'm the women in it, it's women only. Sorry, men. It is, you get to help craft it to what works for you. I'm taking ideas and looking to see how can I serve you best? So join Shine. You're not going to want to miss it. If you want to take it to another level, which I know many of you are ready for that, you are tired of, well, without making a change, nothing changes. How much longer do you want to stay numbing out? Do you want to have that angst that there's more out there? You just don't know what. How much longer do you want to stick with, well, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it? Would you like to start responding to things instead of reacting? Well, DM me and get on the wait list for Shine On. It is so much fun. We go deep and it's in a way that lightens everything. Like I said, we're removing all kinds of years of trauma and crap and things, expectations that we no longer need to hold. So do that. Or just reach out to me. I've given you a lot of things. Maybe the first step is just taking the Journey to You quiz. Are you ready to find out where on the journey you are? I have a quiz on my website. tammymurraycoaching.com/joy quiz. It will leave you with a next step. You take it and it will give you a personalized next step that you can take right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to change things. You can just dive in. Okay, for real this time. Choose joy, friend, until joy chooses you. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.